Hey everyone, it's CL. In today's video I'll be doing the book buying tag, and I seen this video done on My Books Are Me channel, and I will link her channel down below, so please check it out when you have a chance. And let's go ahead and get into the questions. Question 1, where do you buy your books? I buy my books primarily at 3 different places, which is either the library book sale, Amazon, or Barnes & Noble. Question number 2, do you ever pre-order books? Do you do this in-store or online? I do pre-order books, especially if it's a book that's in a series that I'm continuing to follow. If I know the book's going to be released, I may pre-order it so that the day it's released, it will be at my doorstep. And I always do that online because if I pre-order, it means that I'm doing it for convenience. So I do it online and I always have it shipped to my home. Number 3, how many books do you buy a month? Now, when it comes to like library book hauls, I just buy those whenever because they're so cheap. And if it's one that I come across that sounds really good and interesting, so no limit on library book hauls. But when it comes to like retail shops like Barnes & Noble and Amazon, I only probably buy books from there, two or three books a month from regular retail places. Number 4, do you use your local library? Yes, I very much use my library, very much. I go there like every week. But there was a point in my life where for whatever reason, I had stopped going to my normal public library. And for a small gap, like I just never went there. I always went to like Borders and Barnes & Noble back when Borders existed. And I always like bought my books at the retail shop. But then it hit me again, like, oh wait, you know, you can get books for free if you go to the library. And when I started going to the library again, it made me fall in love with libraries all over again because I just love the environment of the library, and it's free, and libraries to me are really beautiful. The ones around where I live are very old and have really beautiful architecture. So yeah, I really love libraries. Number 5, if so, how many books do you borrow at a time? Now, I have a library card and my child has her very own library card. Our library lets us check out up to 50 books at a time. I have checked out 12 to 13 books is my max generally when I check out books for myself. But when it comes to my kid, we will max out to the 50 books. For her, we tend to check out 40 to 50 books. We try to hit the max because children's books are very thin and you can go through them very quickly. If we didn't max out, then we would be going to the library like every other day. And she does have like a reading log that she has to fill out for school where I'm supposed to like read to her. And of course, when I do reading time with her, I let her choose whether or not she wants to continue reading. Like for example, for her reading log, we may have to read like 2 short children's books, but after the 2 books are over, I will ask her, I'm like, do you want to pick another book or do you want to save it for tomorrow? And then some days she'll say, save it for tomorrow, and then other days she'll be like, yeah, let me pick 2 more. So I try not to limit her. Like if she's really into reading that day, I try to encourage it, but I try to let her decide. So I'm not pushing it on her, and also that she's making the decision, that she is finding enjoyment for her and not to please me, you know. Number 6, what is your opinion on library books? I love library books. I love that they're free. I love that my library does have like new releases, and I just like that there's a large variety of books where you could just wander around and run into something and have no problem checking it out. Like you don't have to worry about how much it is, how much you have in your budget, because it's all free. But at the same time, there are some cons when it comes to library books. And for myself, I've mentioned this in a past video, but I can be sometimes germophobic, mostly if it's a book that just looks really far gone. Like if it's a book I really want to read, but it smells like cigarettes, or maybe the cover is all sticky. I don't like that aspect. I don't like that aspect of library books. And it's not all library books. It's very far and few between that are just so gross that I will refuse to touch them. But in that sense, I do understand why someone would prefer like a brand new book that's like crisp and the pages are nice and the color they're supposed to be. So definitely love library books, of course, but I can understand why someone, especially if they're a germaphobe, might kind of prefer to buy it at the retail shop, in which I hope that they have a money tree in their backyard, because buying it at the retail shop can get really pricey. Number 7, how do you feel about charity shops and secondhand books? I love charity shops and secondhand books. I like to walk around them. But for myself, when you have a library sale where they sell books regularly for 25 cents and sometimes even 10 cents, when I go to like the charity shops and secondhand books, like the Strand bookstore in New York City, I went there. That is a used bookstore, but a lot of their prices weren't that great of a price for a used book, in my opinion. Like, it feels like if I would have went to the retail shop and used my membership discount and used a coupon on top of that, I could have got a brand new book as opposed to buying it secondhand, to where the discount wasn't that much of a discount, at least for the books that I came across that I was interested in. So I like walking around secondhand bookstores and charity shops, but sometimes the charity shops don't always have the best deals, in my opinion. Number 8, do you keep your read and TBR pile together? I like to generally keep my piles separate. I mostly keep my unread books separate because I don't want to lose track of them. I don't want them to get lost within my shelves, and then I won't like ever remember to read it, you know. So I like to have a separate stack of books that I still need to read, just so that they're more highlighted, that hey, these are all books you have to choose from, so don't forget about these. Number 9, do you plan to read all of the books that you own? Yes, I do, and to be quite honest, I don't really own that many books. I probably own less than 200 maybe, and I have read a good chunk of those. So yeah, I plan on reading all the books that I own. Number 10, what do you do with the books that you own that you feel you will never read or didn't enjoy? I have no problem giving those books away or even donating them, but I try to also be mindful that, say if it's a book that I didn't enjoy because I didn't like the romance, maybe it's a YA novel and I just thought the romance was cheesy, I won't necessarily get rid of it, because I try to think of my kid, because she is getting more and more into reading. She's starting to read more on her own, and as she gets older, I want to have like books at her disposal, you know, for her to read. And I know that as she gets older, there'll probably be better books, but I just feel like I need to have a good stock for her to be exposed to. For myself, when I grew up, nobody liked to read in my family. Nobody liked to read like for pleasure, right? So the books that I had growing up were a lot of medical books, because my mom at that time was in nursing school, and I remember just kind of being home alone and looking through her nursing books, and just they were really interesting. Like, there was one book that I came across that had it was like a book of STDs with color photos, and I was so young. I was probably like less than 10, but I would just like flip through and read all the pages because I just thought it was fascinating. I should have been disgusted, but I just thought it was fascinating. And to this day, I like reading about the human body. I like watching those shows on TV about biology and science, because I think part of that, a seed was planted when I was younger, that those books were available to me to just poke around when I was little, and I think that planted the seed in me that now I find that type of stuff interesting. So in that sense, I want to have a good collection of books at my daughter's disposal that maybe one day she will like to poke around in. And to be honest, where is it? This book here, I've shown this on my channel before, but this is one of the books I seen her reading yesterday, or not necessarily reading, but she was flipping through, and it's like an art book. So right now she's really into art, and I have no problem with allowing her to flip through this book. And I would hear her from the other room, like I think she was looking at a picture of like a dragon, and she was like using her imagination. So I like to encourage that stuff. So that's why, even though I might not necessarily like a book at all, I try to keep it around for the sake of my daughter, that she will poke around and find stuff that she'll enjoy, you know? That was a long answer to that one question. Okay, number 11, have you ever donated books? Yes, I donate books all of the time. Well, not all of the time, but I have no problem donating books. Number 12, have you ever been on a book buying ban? Yes, not strictly, but if I'm saving up for a particular something, I will refrain from buying books so I can save up for this other thing that I want, you know? Question number 13 and last question. Do you feel that you buy too many books? No, I do not. I only purchase from the retail shop like 2 to 3 books a month, and I don't think that's very much at all. And for the most part, I normally, under normal circumstances, I read those right away. Lately, I've been a little bit off. Like November, I didn't really read much, but in general, I don't think I buy very many books now. If I was buying like 20 books at a time and not reading them, and I'm doing that like every other day, then I would think that would be a problem. But for myself, I think I'm content in my book buying habits. So that is the end of the tag. I hope that you found some of those answers interesting. I'm curious to see what everyone else habits are though. So if you come across this video, I tag you. So please make a video of your own with your answers, and if you do, send me a link on Twitter or down below in the comments and I will check it out. So thank you for watching, and I will see you later.